The assembly will come to order. The chief clerk will call the roll. Technical difficulties.
Assemblywoman Anderson. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson. Assemblywoman Bilber Axelrod. Assemblywoman Black. Assemblywoman Brown May. Assemblywoman Carlton. Assemblywoman Cohen. Assemblywoman Considine. Assemblywoman Dickman. Assemblywoman Duran. Assemblyman Ellison. Assemblyman Flores. Assemblywoman Gonzalez. Assemblywoman Gorlo. Assemblyman Hathan. Assemblywoman Hanson. Assemblywoman Hardy, Assemblywoman Howdiggy, Assemblywoman Kasama, Assemblywoman Krasner, Assemblyman Levitt, Assemblywoman Martinez, Assemblywoman Marzola, Assemblyman Matthews, Assemblyman MacArthur, Assemblywoman Brittany Miller, Assemblyman C.H. Miller, Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno, Assemblywoman Nguyen, Assemblyman O'Neill, Assemblyman Ortlicker, Assemblywoman Peters, Assemblyman Roberts, Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong, Assemblywoman Thomas, Assemblywoman Titus, Assemblywoman Tolles, Assemblywoman Torres, Assemblyman Watts, Assemblyman Wheeler, Assemblyman Yeager, Speaker Frierson.
Here. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May the record reflect that all members are present.
The record shall so reflect there are 42 members present. There is a quorum. The assembly will please rise for the prayer by Reverend Chad Adamick from the St. Paul's Lutheran family here in Carson City.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let us pray. For this new day, for the gift of the state, its people and resources, and for these moments you give to us, we thank you, Eternal Creator. To you who governs, we pledge ourselves this day to good governance. We recall the ancient text that guides us this very day. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly. We accept the responsibility before us to use this time well. Grant us, God, to listen with care, speak with boldness and deliberation, and to find genuine common ground. Our prayer and hope is that we further this time together what is noble, best, and excellent for all Nevadans. We offer this prayer and hope in the confidence of your everlasting and ever-present love. Amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
to the flag
Order business 2, reading and approval of the journal.
Carson City, Monday,
Mr.
April
Speaker?
26.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to dispense with further reading of the journal and authorize the Speaker and Chief Clerk to make necessary corrections and additions.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Order business 4, reports of standing committee.
Mr. Speaker, Committee on Ways and Means, to which will be referred Assembly Bills 167, 194, 231, 278, 356, has had the same under consideration. I beg leave to report the same act of recommendation. Do pass as amended. Maggie Carlton, Chair.
Go to order business 9, introduction, first reading, and reference to bills.
Assembly Bill 461, introduced by the Committee on Ways and Means. An act making an appropriation to the Office of the Attorney General for the cost of replacing standard glass windows and doors with ballistic glass and frames at the Carson City office and providing other matters properly named thereto.
Assemblywoman Carlton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would move that Assembly Bill 461 be referred to your Committee on Ways and Means.
Without objection, so referred.
Assembly Bill 462, introduced by the Committee on Ways and Means, an act making appropriations to the Department of Corrections for an upgrade to and reintegration of certain management systems and for replacement of camera storage area networks and ovens and providing other matters properly named thereto.
Assemblywoman Carlton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would move that Assembly Bill 462 be referred to your Committee on Ways and Means.
Without objection, so referred.
Assembly Bill 463, introduced by the Committee on Ways and Means, an act making a supplemental appropriation to the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for an unanticipated shortfall in the forest fire suppression budget account and providing other matters properly named thereto.
Assemblywoman Carlton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would move that Assembly Bill 463 be referred to your Committee on Ways and Means.
Without objection, so referred. Go to order business 11, second reading and minutes.
Assembly Bill 452, introduced by the Committee on Ways and Means, an act making relating to environmental protection requiring certain agencies and entities to submit information to the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for purposes of the annual report that the department is required to prepare on greenhouse gases, authorizing money in the account for the management of air quality to be expended to pay the costs of preparing the annual report on greenhouse gases, requiring a transfer of certain money from the fund for cleaning up discharges of petroleum and the account for the management of air quality and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 4, end of Section 4, end of bill.
All right, amendments to section 1 of the bill as a whole.
There none.
Bills ordered, general file. Go to order business 12, general file.
Assembly Bill 121, introduced by Assemblywoman Carlton, an act relating to elections requiring the Secretary of State to allow an elector with a disability to register to vote and a registered voter with a disability to request and cast an absent ballot using a system of approved electronic transmission established for certain uniformed military and overseas voters, setting forth certain requirements for such an elector or registered voter to use the system of approved electronic transmission, revising the deadline by which certain uniformed military and overseas voters may submit an application to register to vote or a request for a military overseas ballot and providing other matters properly named thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows: Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 17, end of Section 17, end of bill.
All right, amendments to section 1 of the bill as a whole.
There are none.
Assemblywoman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 121 requires the Secretary of State to allow the effective absentee system for elections, or EAS, to be used by an elector with a disability to register to vote and a registered voter with a disability to apply for and cast an absent ballot. The measure requires EAS to allow such an elector to register to vote, to provide his or her digital or electronic signature on any document or other material that is necessary for the elector to register to vote or for the registered voter to apply for and cast an absentee ballot. The measure also revises the deadline by which certain uniformed military and overseas voters may submit an application to register to vote or a request for a military overseas ballot. And further, the Secretary of State is required to establish procedures to be used by local election officials in accepting, handling, and counting absent ballots received from a registered voter with a disability using EAS.
Any further remarks? There being none, Chief Clerk will open the room. Anyone wishing to change their vote There are 32 ayes, 10 nays. Bill having received the constitutional majority, declare pass or transmitted to Senate.
Assembly Bill 147, introduced by Assemblywoman Wynn, an act of the counties authorizing a Board of County Commissioners to create by ordinance the office of County Council, providing for the appointment of a County Council, establishing the qualifications of a County Council, authorizing a County Council to appoint deputies and certain other staff, setting forth the powers and duties of a County Council, revising the responsibilities of the District Attorney when the office of County Council is created, and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 139, end of Section 139, end of bill.
Are there any members of Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks, Assemblywoman Wynn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 147 authorizes a Board of County Commissioners to create an Office of County Council to perform many of the non-criminal duties otherwise assigned to the District Attorney. The bill authorizes a county manager with the confirmation of the Board of County Commissioners to appoint county council. The bill also sets forth the qualifications for an appointment of county council, which are similar to the qualifications required for a candidate for the office of District Attorney.
Any further remarks? There being none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 30 ayes, 12 nays. Bill having received the constitutional majority, declare pass or transmitted to Senate.
Assembly Bill 166, introduced by Assemblyman Hathan, an act relating to campaign practices requiring under certain circumstances a person, committee for political action, political party, or committee sponsored by a political party to disclose certain information when advocating expressly for or against a candidate or group of candidates, or soliciting a contribution by text message, and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 2, end of Section 2, end of bill.
Are any members of Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks, Assemblyman Hathan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 166 requires certain persons or committees to sponsor a political party that expends more than $100 for the purpose of financing a communication through text messages to disclose in the text message the name of the person or entity that paid for the communication. This disclosure is required if the text message advocates expressly for the election or defeat of a clearly identified candidate or group of candidates, or solicits a contribution.
Any further remarks? There being none, Chief Clerk, open the roll. Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 42 ayes, 0 nays. Bill having received the constitutional majority, declare pass and order transmitted to Senate.
Assembly Bill 188, introduced by the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, an act relating to special license plates, abolishing the Commission on Special License Plates, and transferring the duties and authorities of the Commission to the Department of Motor Vehicles, requiring the Department to hold public meetings and comply with certain notice requirements for such public meetings before approving or disapproving an application for the design, preparation, and issuance of a special license plate, requiring the legislative auditor to compile certain reports and submit such reports to the Department and the Director of the Legislative Council Bureau for transmittal to the Legislature or Legislative Commission as applicable, transferring certain duties and authorities relating to certain actions concerning charitable organizations from the Commission to the Department, and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 18, end of Section 18, end of bill.
Are any members of Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks, Assemblywoman Monroe Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 188, as amended, abolishes the Commission on Special License Plates and transfers its duty and approval procedures to the Department of Motor Vehicles. In addition, the bill as amended requires the legislative auditor to compile and submit certain reports for charitable organizations that receive certain fees to the Department of Motor Vehicles and the Director of Legislative Council Bureau for transmission to the Legislature or the Legislative Commission as applicable.
Any further remarks? There being none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 42 ayes, 0 nays. Bill having received the constitutional majority, declare pass and order transmitted to Senate.
Assembly Bill 202, introduced by Assemblyman Yeager, an act relating to gaming, revising provisions relating to the registration of a qualified organization to operate a charitable lottery or charitable game, and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada, represented in Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, end of Section 1, Section 2, end of Section 2, end of bill.
Are any members of Section 1 of the bill as a whole?
There are none.
Remarks, Assemblyman Yeager.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 202, as amended, provides that a qualified organization that operates charitable lotteries or charitable games offering prizes valued at less than $100,000 annually must register and pay a fee to the Nevada Gaming Control Board once per year prior to operating a lottery or game. The fee, which is to be established by regulations adopted by the Nevada Gaming Commission, must not exceed $10 per year.
Any further remarks? There being none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 33 ayes, 9 nays. Bill having received the constitutional majority, declared to pass. Order transmitted to the Senate.
Assembly Bill 435, introduced by the Committee on Revenue, and Acting Taxation, expanding the exemption from the commerce tax for persons who take part in certain events for a purpose related to the conduct of a business and providing other matters properly thereto. The people of the state of Nevada represented in Senate and Assembly to enact as follows: Section 1 and Section 1, Section 3 and Section 3 and above.
All right, members, Section 1 of the bill as a whole.
There are none.
Remarks, Assemblywoman Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 435 amends the definition of business entity for the purposes of the commerce tax to exclude a person who takes part in an exhibition, trade show, industry, or corporate meeting or similar event held in this state for a purpose related to the conduct of a business, including without limitation, an organizer, manager, or sponsor of such an event, or an exhibitor at such an event. The provisions of this bill would exempt these persons from paying the commerce tax.
Any further remarks? There being none, the Chief Clerk will open the roll. Anyone wishing to change their vote? There are 41 ayes, 1 nay. Bill having received the constitutional majority, declared pass, and order transmitted to the Senate. I think we'll go to Order Business 8. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under Order Business 8, I move that Senate Bill 349 be withdrawn from your Committee on Health and Human Services.
You heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Senate Bill 349 be referred to your Committee on Government Affairs.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Go to Order Business 15, remarks. Assemblyman O'Neill.
Bounce back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I would like to acknowledge the recent accomplishments of 2 young men who are students here in Carson City. Cole Steele, a 7th grader at Eagle Valley Middle School, went undefeated during his 2021 cross-country season and won the Nevada League Championship while setting a course record this past Thursday at Cale Park. His twin brother, Hunter, placed 3rd in the same championship race. While their triumphs are impressive, even more so is that they've maintained straight A's during their entire high school or junior high experience. I ask that the body join me in recognizing Cole and Hunter Steele. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Assemblyman Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, the 28th, is, if you don't know, National Clean Joke Day. So, in honor of National Clean Joke Day, I thought, and being a dad, of course, with dad jokes, I thought I should give you a Nevada Connection National Clean joke today. So what I heard on the way in today was that Elon Musk and SpaceX and Tesla have opened their first restaurant on the moon. They say the food is great, but there is no atmosphere. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Assemblywoman Carlton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under Order of Business 15, I'd just like to rise today and recognize National Workers' Memorial Day, especially after this past year. Folks who never thought they were considered essential workers have put themselves in harm's way. And I want to again send out our heartfelt thanks and condolences to all of their families that watched their family members go to work every day and do those jobs in the state that needed to be done, and express our condolences to those where their family members didn't come home. So on this day, we just want to make sure that we remember all of those who stepped up and did their job for Nevada.
Assemblywoman Benitez Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll start with some announcements for the floor for you folks. So on Monday, May 3rd, we are going to have an address by Congresswoman Dina Titus. And so the address is going to happen at 11:15 a.m. in the Assembly chambers. So I'm going to need all members to be in the chamber seated by 11 a.m. It's going to be a simultaneous broadcast with the Senate, so we need to start on time. And then secondly, on Wednesday, May 5th, we are going to do a panoramic portrait of the entire Assembly. So if I could have all members to the floor and seated at 11:30 a.m., we'll do the photo, and then we'll have floor at noon on that day. And then I have an order business 15, Mr. Speaker.
Order business 15.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I am pleased to see so many of you sporting jeans and denim. You look amazing. In recognition of Denim Day and the International Day of Sexual Violence Awareness, it's appropriate for legislators to be making this visual statement against sexual assault, as the origin of Denim Day was the response of women in the Italian Parliament in 1999 when the Supreme Court of Italy overturned a rape conviction, saying that the victim's jeans were so tight she must have assisted in their removal. The next day, the women of the parliament wore jeans as a response to this harmful victim-blaming policy. We in Nevada and the Spotty have a more positive history. Last session, my colleague from Assembly District 9 and the Senate Majority Leader co-sponsored Assembly Bill 176, the Sexual Assault Victims Bill of Rights. The bill was followed by work led by the Attorney General's office on what steps need to be taken in Nevada to make the Bill of Rights a reality throughout the state. We soon will have the opportunity to make additional important steps. This session, the Assemblywoman from District 18 brought Assembly Bill 214, which removes gendered language from the Nevada sexual assault statute. This is an overdue recognition of the fact that the crimes of sexual violence are not confined to one age group, one race, nor one gender. The Assemblywoman from District 3 brought Assembly Bill 384, which seeks to change the campus climate and improve campus safety in relationship to sexual assaults. This is important work. These bills received overwhelming support from us in the Nevada Assembly. I urge us all to be active supporters of legislation and to continue the conversation whenever we can to show our stance against sexual violence in the state. Mr. Speaker, seeing no other business before us, I would move that the Assembly stand adjourned until, today is Wednesday? Okay. Until Thursday, April 29th at the hour of 11:30 a.m.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.